So yesterday, the TanStack team introduced a bunch of things during the live stream. In case you missed it, let me change my view over here. This is the live stream. It's on Jack Harrington's YouTube channel. It was around 6 p.m. Yesterday in Germany time. It's around 1 hour 43 minutes. So it's pretty long, and I wanted to go over everything that they have introduced, all the changes. Obviously, you're very welcome to go over there and check out and basically listen to the whole thing, but I just wanted to give a recap to everyone who's using one of the TanStack libraries. So let's go over it because they actually introduced a lot of changes, a lot of significant ones, some really interesting stuff. And let's start with the first one, which is around the branding. So it started with a presentation of a new person on the TanStack team, who is Andy Beitler. I hope I'm reading it correctly. And he is basically doing some branding updates. And he did a great presentation showing basically the new branding of TanStack Start.
Didn't tell Tanner.
All about the colors, the fonts,
and kind of evolve it and establish, type hierarchy.
And basically the whole new brand identity or updated brand identity for TanStack. And a really nice thing that they have talked about, which is about the merch. And one of the goals is that TanStack's merch should be very subtle, so you could wear it as a normal t-shirt, for example, and no one would actually notice unless you are a geek person. So that's pretty cool.
And those are some of the...
And obviously, when you talk about branding, they have also updated the website. What I like about it is the new structure of the website. So you have here the homepage, you have a prompt place over here. I'm not sure what this exactly does. I should play with this way more after recording this video, but the cool thing is this library is over here. So here you have an overview of all or the major libraries. There are other ones who are hidden over here, and they are also categorized. So you have frameworks, which is TanStack Start or Router, libraries related to data and state, TanStack Query, DB, Store, and AI. And as you can see, there are also two new libraries which we're gonna cover later on. If you open, let's go ahead and open Query. Then you have your home page. It's also split, so you have, this has been actually introduced a few months ago, which is that you have a sidebar and you also have some tabs on the top. And here you have an explicit section for the API, another one for guides, and then examples. So it's pretty cool. There has been some updates regarding TanStack Start, and especially regarding React server components and error handling. I'm not too deep into the server components, not generally, but also not in TanStack Start. So I will leave this part. I'm not gonna talk about this part explicitly, but if you wanna, or if you're interested in this kind of stuff, you can check it out. Yeah, in the original recording. I'm gonna link it in the description. Then there has been some updates regarding TanStack forms. So it's a lot of performance improvements, but also some API improvements. Let me skip over here. And yeah, so it's a lot of TypeScript improvements. And one of my favorite things, this is a problem that I had in another form library, which is React hook form. And this is when you have default values where you have null values. So initially it's not set, but when the user submits the form, you want to have actually a value. And this is something that they have solved by introducing two types, which is strict schema, which is basically the same behavior that you have or you had till now. And the second one is loose schema, which allows you to pass in like some default values who have other values like null, for example, here with this date. And then the schemas or the types are going to be merged. So the type of default value and the schema that you have passed in. So that's pretty cool. Then there's a part which is about TanStack AI, and here they talked about some new additions, which is regarding persistence. I'm also not too deep into TanStack AI, but one of the things that they have covered is that you would be able to easily build something like ChatGPT where you have multiple threads, and you can also easily add in something like a memory. Next, we have a part from Kevin Van Cott. And here he has shared some improvements that have been done in TanStack table. And a big chunk of it is about the performance improvements. It's a lot of very impressive charts. So yeah, TanStack table is way more performant than it has ever been. There's also a blog post if you want to check it out with all the updates. And this is like what's new in TanStack table v9.
I wrote this blog post on why we stopped using React Server components. It was basically a wash. And in fact, it got better because even though it was a wash on performance and bundle size, what wasn't a wash is the complexity of the code base and how consistent AI was able to just go back to writing normal SSR. So you can.
Yeah, so then there's a part where Tanner talks about server-side components that were actually also used in the official TanStack Start docs to power all of the markdown documents, so all the documentation, and how, or like which challenges were there, how complex it was. So complexity was definitely one of the big topics. I personally also find React Server components a bit hard to understand, especially in the beginning. And I still never really had a use case for them myself. But this is not about bashing TanStack Start. Tanner said it himself. There are good use cases for that. And in the case of the TanStack docs, the React Server components may not have been the best solution. And that's why they have introduced 2 new libraries. And these are related to markdown. So there's TanStack Markdown, which is a new library that turns let me actually open it up. So if I open it up over here, and this library basically turns a markdown document into something that you can basically parse easily. And actually there was an example where it turns it into a JSON object. Yeah, exactly. So this is turned into a JSON object. And this basically describes everything that is over here in the original markdown file, and this allows you to render it however you want. I'm not sure if it also directly renders it into HTML or React. That's something to see. This is still in alpha. This is very new. So something else that they have also introduced is Highlight, which is a code highlighter built from scratch, I believe. And the strength of this code highlighter, which they should also start using in the documentation. They're probably gonna start using it very soon in the documentation website. The strength of it is that it's extremely small. Like we're talking about 7 or almost 8 kilobytes, including all the major programming languages. And yeah, that's amazing. That's way lighter to something like Shiki.js. If you take a look at the comparison over here, it should take around 20 milliseconds to load TanStack Highlight and around 1.2 seconds when it comes to Shiki. I personally use Shiki in my project, which is Snipcast. And one of the challenges that I currently have, and actually this is a bug that has been disturbing me for a while, is that once you have a big chunk of code, if you start making changes, it takes visible time till you see those changes reflect. Yeah, so I might switch to this. I should check out the API. Obviously it's still alpha, so there's still room for breaking changes or bugs, but I will definitely reconsider this. And they have also introduced charts. So just some background information about this library, or maybe about Tanner. So he used to have a startup called Nozzle.io, if I'm not mistaken. It had something to do with analytics, I think web analytics, something like that. So he has some experience with charts, and he also has experience building another charts library. I'm not sure exactly what's the name of it. I'm going to put it on the screen if I find it. But yeah, so there's a new charts library, just so you know, if you're considering adding a charts to your app, that could be probably a good solution. TanStack libraries have a great reputation. They're very robust, they have clean APIs, they're very TypeScript or type safe. So yeah, TanStack charts really looks promising. Yeah, that was a very quick recap. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.